And we had rooms of trophies, but no cash to go with it. So finally in '73, started getting some cash. So we kind of liked the feeling of that. And as the cash came in, you know, it's just like in baseball and football and basketball and our other sports in this country. A lot of the guys who were the old timers who came up early in the sport don't make as much as a rookie, first year person, and even though they could have been a Hall of Famer back then. And that's kind of how core martial arts has evolved. And you know, back in the '70s when I moved from Texas to go up to Washington, D.C. to help June Rhee run his schools, I wasn't going up there because I wanted to make martial arts a career. I was going up there because I wanted to further my knowledge in the martial arts, not to teach martial arts professionally and make that a career, because I was in college, I was getting a business degree, and I thought I would go up to Washington, D.C. from a small town in Texas. So that was going to give me the opportunity to actually get into the business world, thinking what better place than the nation's capital, what better opportunity for you know, furthering your business degree, knowledge, job opportunities that you wouldn't have in a small town in Texas. But when I went up there and then I started teaching at the schools, and I was still doing all the training, competing, and so, you know, it was pretty much 18-hour days with training and running schools and that kind of stuff, because when you're training all day and then teaching, you know how the schools go till 9 or 10 o'clock at night. So at that point, moving up to there, after working for June Rhee for a short time, I realized a unique opportunity that, wow, I didn't know karate was that kind of business, that you could actually make money at it, doing what we did back in Texas in a little club that we had there at a university, you know, charging, you know, $50 a semester for them to train, and thinking that that was too much. And then to go up there, they were paying back at that time $75 a month, you know, back in the 1970. But after getting in with June Rhee and seeing the opportunities, together we expanded a lot of, he gave me a lot of leeway. He was a very innovative guy, very open-minded, not your traditional Korean martial artist who you could never question what he did. You know, he had an explanation of everything. If it didn't, then he would be glad to hear your explanation. If it made sense, he would do it. Even from going from the traditional to the modern system of martial arts. We were one of the first ones to conform to the modern system of martial arts, getting away from the traditional punching because we knew that that wasn't a practical application. We wanted to make it a little bit more realistic. And a lot of that evolved through the kickboxing and the application of some of the techniques that we thought would work and didn't work. But in the long run, the martial arts schools benefited from it because we felt we were teaching better martial arts. But back then, we were still one-dimensional. We had no concept that there was, yeah, we knew then that, oh, if you become a black belt, you're going to have good self-esteem, confidence, and discipline. Well, the discipline, the confidence came from just from completing the program. If you had the discipline to stick with it to a black belt with what we put everybody through, and you guys that have been around for a while know, you might have been in on the tip of some of that, even some of the younger guys, on the tip of that hardcore training where they pretty much, it was the school of hard knocks, and if they would try to almost force you to leave is what it seemed like, but they weren't. I mean, that was their idea of teaching you good karate, was usually to beat the hell out of you. So surviving all of that and then realizing that our job wasn't to beat the hell out of everybody, but our job was actually to improve their well-being, to make them a better person. And then we started seeing the results of some of that. We started, you know, in 1970, about the youngest student was about 12 years old. We felt anybody younger than that couldn't really handle that type of training. Well, then that slowly started moving down. I mean, on down to the point where we had 3-year-olds. Some schools wouldn't teach 3-year-olds. And we're not a babysitting service, even though some schools were operating their schools as babysitting service, after school, you know, before school or after school daycare stuff. But the whole process, and a good thing to understand, if you want to know where you are now and how you got there, it's good to look at it from the beginning and how we got to the point that we are. And how are we going to take it to the next level? that's what Master Oliver and myself have done, is really committed to making the schools now not just teaching good martial arts, because what is teaching good martial arts? Well, that's different to every person. Your idea of good martial arts, your idea, everybody's idea is a little bit different because most people teach different styles. Now, if we're in the same style, we can actually compare apples with apples. And we can actually look at it and say, well, yours is better, based on somebody else's opinion, not necessarily your own. But if you're looking at all the martial arts can accomplish the same thing, is not just the development of the physical side, because yes, we know it's going to develop your flexibility. We know people need that. They have back problems. In this country, the two biggest health problems are heart problems and back problems. As you get older, people who are not flexible have problems. So we know that they have to have exercise. We know that the cardiovascular system has to be conditioned. We know that you have to have muscle tone. And if you want to live a healthy life, the better condition you're in, the longer you're going to live. So what kind of value do you put on that? Well, how important is that to a 6 or 7-year-old? Live longer? Well, that's, we're looking at like a long ways away here to be focusing on that for the kids. Well, for your older adults, if they're in their 30s, they're already thinking about those things. But when they're in their 20s, they ain't thinking about that. They're thinking about having fun. They want to learn some techniques that they could use maybe in a real situation. So, you have different markets and different things that are important to different people. So how do you teach something that's going to appeal to everybody? And that's where we try to put a system together that brings the family in. And if your program is not family orientated, if you have just kids or you have just adults, you're missing a big market, because every kid that comes in, 99% of them have parents. And 2 parents, 1 parent, brother, sister. So you automatically have a 4-member family on just about everybody that comes in your school. So when you're enrolling 1, all of a sudden you've got an extra 2 or 3 people that you can pull into the program, if the program is friendly that way. You follow me? So first of all, it has to be family friendly. We found in the beginning, we didn't have a lot of the parents jumping in there. Why? Because they didn't see other parents in there. See, it's once you get the ball rolling. Well, guess what's going to happen with your leadership program? What's going to happen with your Master Club program? Well, when people come in, they see a lot of people in the basic program, but if they don't see a lot of people in the leadership program, then they're going to think, well, I guess that's not a good program, or I guess I'm not ready for that. So the thing that impressed me with Master Oliver is, even though I taught him his physical side and most of his business side, except he took it to another level. His marketing stuff that he did and his expertise in his education with getting a minor in computer science helped him, was the right age and time to do a lot of internet marketing, which he is 10 times above 99% of the people in the martial arts field.
Not to interrupt, but how old is Mr. Oliver?
He's 80.
Really? Whatever he's doing, I want it.
I'm 64, and he's just the other side of 50.
I see.
Okay, so I've got about 10 or so years on him, so he likes to always say I'm the old guy. But, so the thing is, he was able to take the physical part, good technique, learn how to teach that good technique, and then add the business side of the marketing and the implementation. And I'll be upfront with you, that was my weakest area, was marketing. I was great at retention, upgrading, doing all that, but the marketing was always the hard thing. I didn't want to leave the school. I loved to be at the school. And if you had me in a class, I'm going to motivate those kids. I'm going to motivate those adults. I'm going to get them renewed. I'm going to get a high student value. But for your school to thrive, you have to have 2 things. 1, you have to have a good flow of students coming in. And 2, they've got to stay long enough to get them upgraded. if somebody's in that first phase, and they're in the basic program, and you get them in, and you figured out a way to funnel enough people in there, you're still not going to have a successful school in our standards, in our goals, unless you can upgrade them. The only way you can upgrade them, you cannot fool them. You cannot trick them. You cannot give them a false image of yourself. You cannot act like you care about them. You cannot put on an act to upgrade them. You can to enroll them. That's why a lot of schools have so many dropouts. Because they do all of this work to get the people in the school, thinking that now we got them. Now I'm going on after the next group to come in. And forget about these out here. Well, while you're out gathering your flock, the flock that you have at home, somebody left the gate open and they're all leaving. So to keep those people to stay is another whole system of how to keep those people happy. I used to think, oh, it must be our system. It's not our system, because when we took the part of our system and overlaid it with any other martial arts system, some of the ones that I actually told Master Oliver, I don't know how this is going to work. Tai Chi, it worked. Cardio kickboxing, how can they pay that much a month? Impossible. Because they can go to Gold's Gym and get it, along with their membership free. But what is it you're selling?
Value.
The value is the perception of value. Because value is not there. There's nothing that they can open a book. Oh yeah, there it is. It says it right there. They don't have the blue book, the Kelly Blue Book on value of martial arts school, so you can open them all up and see what yours is worth, and they would know where to go. You can do that on cards. You can't. So what sells your program? The perceived value, but what is that perceived value? That's it. He said it right there. What are you selling? Say it again.
Yourself.
Guys, what are you worth? Now, what kind of value do you put on that personal integrity, that personal interest that you show in every student? Because you cannot get excited to talk to them when you want to renew them and upgrade them. From day one, your first goal is to find out why they're there and help them reach that goal. And to motivate them to want to reach higher goals. So don't think this is about dollars and cents. It's not about, I'm going to raise my price and I'm going to double my price, so I'm going to double my gross. Guess what? It ain't going to happen. Unless you buy into the program. Unless you realize that it's your value that they're perceiving. Unless they can see that you are really giving them that kind of personal attention. Now, your program has to have some substance. It has to have some meat to it. You have to have a system. If you're going to say we develop a child's self-esteem, their confidence, their discipline, their respect, we have to have a system in place that they can monitor that. We can't do it all word of mouth stuff. Well, let me see. Yep. Got his self-esteem down. Wow, what discipline. Your son is doing great. Parents going to buy that for those kind of dollars? No. We have actual forms that they fill out, that they have to complete, that they get recognized for by their parents, that they get recognized for by their teachers, that they have to do to get stripes on their belt, to see that they're completing those stages of the program. Now, you can overlay that with any martial arts program. That's the beauty of it. But unless you have those systems in place, there's nothing for you to say. When we have a graduation and students come up to get a self-discipline award, because they earned that self-discipline award,